Before we dive in, let me ask you something powerful. What if the man who's pulling away from you is actually the one who feels the deepest? What if his silence, his distance, and his hesitation aren't signs of disinterest, but signs of emotional overwhelm? Most women assume a man steps back because he doesn't care. But the truth is far more complicated and honestly more heartbreaking. Men aren't taught to express love softly, gently, or vulnerably. They're taught to stay composed, controlled, and unaffected, even when they're feeling everything at once. So when a man genuinely loves a woman, it activates emotions he doesn't have the tools to process. He doesn't know how to show these feelings without exposing the parts of himself he's spent his whole life protecting. That's why some men hide the very feelings that could bring them closer to you. It's not because the emotions aren't real. It's because they're too real, too strong, too unfamiliar. And to him, strong feelings often feel like danger. The danger of getting hurt, the danger of losing you, or the danger of not being enough for you. So before you assume he's detached, ask yourself, what if he's staying away because you matter more than he can handle right now? In this video, you're going to see the truth behind his behavior, the truth he may never be able to say out loud. When a man truly loves a woman, the intensity of that emotion can hit him like a tidal wave. Exciting, powerful, but also terrifying. What many women don't realize is that love affects men differently than it affects them. While women are often encouraged to lean into connection, men are conditioned to stay in control. So when love shows up in a way he didn't expect, at a depth he wasn't prepared for, his instinct isn't always to move closer. Sometimes it's to step back so he can regain his emotional balance. Love overwhelms him because it awakens parts of himself he's kept tucked away for years. Vulnerability, softness, hope, fear, longing. These aren't emotions he easily navigates. They're emotions he usually avoids. And suddenly, you bring them all to the surface just by being the person who feels right to him. He starts imagining the future, imagining losing you, imagining not being enough, imagining you seeing the parts of him he doesn't show anyone. That much emotional stimulation can make him feel exposed, almost unprotected, and for a man who's used to relying only on himself, that shift is destabilizing. The more he cares, the higher the stakes feel. The more he feels, the less control he has. And the less control he has, the more his fear of messing things up grows. This is why he may appear calm on the outside but be overwhelmed internally. So when he takes space, it isn't always distance. Sometimes it's an attempt to process emotions bigger than anything he's felt before. It's him trying to catch his breath, recenter, and understand what this love means for his identity, his future, and his heart. He's not running from you. He's running from the intensity of what he feels for you. When a man truly cares about you, his biggest fear isn't commitment, it's losing you. And that fear can become so intense that it actually drives him to step back. It sounds backward, but emotionally it makes perfect sense. When he sees you as someone irreplaceable, someone he doesn't want to hurt or disappoint, the pressure rises. Suddenly, every move he makes feels heavier, and every word he says feels like it carries consequences. He becomes hyper-aware of the possibility that one mistake could cost him the person he values the most. This fear doesn't come from weakness. It comes from attachment. The deeper he feels, the more he believes he has something to lose. And that thought alone can trigger a protective instinct. Pull back before you get too close. Because if you get too close, you might see the parts of him he's afraid could push you away. He starts overthinking instead of acting. He questions himself instead of pursuing you. He hesitates instead of leaning in. To him, stepping back feels safer than risking losing you completely. He'd rather take space and try to stabilize his emotions than make a wrong move that could break the connection entirely. And while you might see this distance as disinterest or rejection, he sees it as prevention, preventing heartbreak, preventing conflict, preventing vulnerability from exposing him too deeply. When a man feels like you're too good to lose, he can start believing he's not enough to keep you. That insecurity makes him behave in ways that don't match his feelings at all. So remember this, sometimes the men who step back aren't the ones who care the least. They're the ones who care so much that the fear of losing you becomes louder than the desire to love you openly. Men don't just distance themselves because of what they feel for you. Sometimes they pull back because of what they've lived through, long before you ever came into their life. His past trauma and emotional baggage can shape how he reacts to love, commitment, and vulnerability. And even if he genuinely wants closeness, his history may make intimacy feel dangerous instead of comforting. Maybe he grew up in a home where expressing emotions wasn't safe. Maybe he had relationships where he was betrayed, abandoned, or made to feel like his feelings didn't matter. Or maybe he's carried silent wounds for years, wounds he never dealt with, never healed, and never talked about. These experiences don't just disappear, they collect inside him, shaping his choices and reactions. So when he meets you, someone who brings love, softness, and emotional depth, it activates parts of him he has kept locked away. You unknowingly touch those unhealed places. And suddenly he's not just dealing with how he feels for you, he's dealing with the ghosts of everything that hurt him before you. His trauma makes him cautious, his baggage makes him question, his memories make him hold back. He might fear repeating old patterns. He might fear hurting you the way somebody hurt him. He might fear that getting too close will force him to confront emotions he's been avoiding for years. And instead of risking all that, he chooses distance, not because he doesn't care, but because caring brings up pain he has never processed. Men often carry their heartbreak quietly. They don't always talk about the cheating ex who shattered their trust. They don't always talk about the parent who made them feel unworthy. They don't always admit how deeply past disappointment shaped them. But all of that lives inside him, influencing how he loves now. So when he withdraws, it isn't always about you. It's about the emotional battles he's still fighting, the wounds he's still healing, and the fear that history may repeat itself. His distance is often a form of self-protection, a shield he built long before you, one he doesn't know how to put down yet. Sometimes the man who pulls away is the one who has been hurt the hardest, loved the deepest, and fears the past the most. When a man loves you deeply but pulls away, the real battle is happening inside him, a quiet war between his desire to be close to you and his fear of being vulnerable. Love awakens the part of him that wants connection, intimacy, comfort, and partnership. Vulnerability awakens the part that fears exposure, disappointment, and emotional risk. These two forces collide within him, creating an internal conflict that he rarely expresses but constantly feels. On one hand, he wants to be near you. He wants your presence, your warmth, your voice, the comfort he feels when you're around. He wants to share things with you he doesn't share with anyone else. You bring out a side of him that feels seen and understood. That's the part of him that reaches for you without even thinking. But on the other hand, he knows that getting closer requires him to open up, emotionally, mentally, sometimes even spiritually. And that's where his fear kicks in. Vulnerability means he has to let down the walls he's spent years building. It means you might see the parts of him he doesn't show anyone. His insecurities, his doubts, his flaws, his past. It means surrendering control. And for many men, losing control feels like danger. So he ends up stuck between two powerful truths. He loves you, and he is terrified of what that love demands. This conflict can make him moody, inconsistent, or distant. One moment he leans in, the next he pulls back. One day he seems all in, the next he's guarded and silent. You feel the push and pull because he feels it within himself. He's not confused about caring for you. He's confused about whether he can handle what loving you requires. For him, vulnerability feels like standing in the open without armor. Love makes him want to risk it. Fear makes him want to run from it. Both emotions hit him with equal intensity. So his distance is not a lack of love. It's the evidence of how strong his feelings actually are. The deeper he loves, the deeper his vulnerability goes. And until he learns to trust that being open won't break him, he will continue fighting that internal battle. The fight between wanting you close and being afraid of letting you in. Sometimes a man doesn't distance himself to protect his own heart. He does it because he believes it will protect yours. It may sound strange, even impossible, but many men genuinely think stepping back is the most selfless thing they can do. When he cares deeply, he becomes hyper-aware of his flaws, his struggles, and the parts of his life he hasn't figured out yet. And instead of letting those imperfections affect you, he convinces himself that staying away is the kinder option. He may look at you and see someone gentle, loving, stable, or emotionally grounded. Someone who deserves consistency, effort, and presence. Someone he's not sure he can fully show up for, not yet. And because he respects you, because he values the connection, he fears that being close to you while he's still battling his own issues will only hurt you. Men often carry the belief that they must be ready, strong, and put together before committing. If he feels he's not where he wants to be, in his career, his mental health, his finances, or his emotional stability, he may withdraw, not out of disinterest, but out of guilt. He wants to give you more than he currently can, and instead of risking disappointing you, he chooses distance. He thinks, I don't want to drag her into my problems. I don't want her to see the messy parts of my life. She deserves more than what I can give right now. She's better off without me complicating her world. In his mind, staying away becomes an act of love, not abandonment. He may also fear that his unresolved issues, jealousy, insecurity, fear of commitment, or emotional volatility, could create conflict or cause damage in the relationship. Rather than risk hurting you, he steps back as a way to shield you from what he believes could become a future heartbreak. To you it looks like rejection, but to him, it feels like protection. This doesn't mean he's right, or that distance is what the relationship actually needs, but it shows how deeply he cares. When a man truly believes you deserve peace, he sometimes removes himself because he thinks he is the very thing that might disturb it. One of the deepest, most unspoken reasons a man distances himself, especially from a woman he truly loves, is the quiet belief that he simply isn't enough for her. This insecurity doesn't always look like low confidence on the surface. In fact, he might present himself as calm, strong, ambitious, and composed. But underneath that exterior, he may be battling the fear that he can't meet your expectations, can't match your loyalty, or can't offer the kind of future he thinks you deserve. When he looks at you, he might see someone who inspires him. Someone intelligent, beautiful, emotionally mature, grounded, and full of potential. And instead of making him feel proud, it can make him feel inadequate. That comparison, even though it's entirely in his own mind, creates pressure he doesn't know how to handle. He starts to question himself. Am I enough for her? What if she realizes she can do better? What if I can't give her the life she wants? What if she sees my flaws and walks away? These questions don't stay quiet. They echo in him, and the deeper he feels for you, the louder they become. He might worry about his finances, his stability, his career, his emotional availability, or his past mistakes. He might fear you'll outgrow him, or see weaknesses he's been hiding from everyone, including himself. That fear becomes the driving force behind his withdrawal. Instead of risking rejection in the future, he prefers to create distance now, while he still feels in control. Instead of opening up and admitting his insecurities, he pulls back to avoid exposing them. Instead of trying to rise to your level, he assumes he can't and retreats before you notice the gap he thinks exists. But here's the truth. His distance is not about your worth. It's about the way he perceives his own. His insecurities distort the connection, making him believe you deserve more, even if you never said or implied it. When a man feels not enough, he doesn't stop caring. He stops believing he's worthy of your care. And that is why he steps back. Not because he doesn't love you, but because he can't see what you see in him. His retreat is a reflection of his inner battles, not a reflection of your value. When a man loves you deeply but holds himself back, his behavior becomes a mixture of warmth and hesitation, a contradiction that can leave you confused, hopeful, and frustrated all at once. But the truth is, men who are afraid of their own feelings don't hide their love completely. They show it in subtle, unguarded moments when their heart speaks louder than their fears. One of the clearest signs is the way he pays attention to you, even from a distance. He notices your mood, your tone, your silence. He remembers the small things you say, the little details most people overlook. He might not always act on it directly, but he observes you with a quiet intensity that gives him away. He also becomes protective without admitting why. He cares about your safety, your comfort, and your emotional well-being. He checks on you at odd times, offers help even when you didn't ask, or gets worried when something seems off in your life. His instinct is to take care of you, even if he's not ready to fully step into the relationship. Another sign is his inconsistency, not because he's confused about you, but because he's conflicted within himself. One day he opens up, the next he retreats. One moment you feel his affection, the next he goes silent. This push and pull isn't manipulation. It's the emotional tension between what he feels and what he fears. He may also struggle to maintain distance. Even when he tries to pull away, he somehow finds himself circling back to you, liking your posts, viewing your stories, reaching out randomly, or showing up in your life when you least expect it. His heart keeps pulling him toward you, even when his mind tries to hold him back. And perhaps the biggest sign, his emotions slip through the cracks. Maybe his eyes soften when he looks at you. Maybe his voice changes when he talks to you. Maybe he gets jealous without admitting it, or nervous when he's around you, or shy when emotions get too real. These reactions aren't planned, they're instinctive. He might be holding back, but love doesn't hide easily. It leaks through his gestures, his worries, his silences, and his attempts to protect you. His resistance isn't the absence of feeling. It's the proof of how deeply he feels. If a man who loves you deeply is staying away, it doesn't automatically mean he's lost interest, or that you're not enough. In fact, it usually means the opposite. It means his feelings are intense, complicated, and sometimes overwhelming. So much so that he doesn't always know how to show up the way he wants to. Understanding this can completely change the way you view his behavior, and more importantly, how you respond. Distance is often a reflection of his inner world, not a reflection of your worth. He may be struggling with insecurities, past trauma, fear of vulnerability, or uncertainty about how to handle the depth of his emotions. These struggles can make him step back, but they don't erase the love he feels. Sometimes he withdraws because he wants to protect you from his own imperfections, thinking that being away is safer than being fully present. It's also important to recognize that pulling away can be his way of processing. He may need time to sort through his thoughts, emotions, and fears before he can engage fully and authentically. This isn't an excuse for inconsistency, but it is an explanation, and understanding it allows you to approach the situation with empathy rather than frustration. Your role in this isn't to chase him or fix him, it's to maintain your own sense of self-worth and emotional stability. Loving someone who is distant doesn't mean compromising your value or waiting endlessly for validation. It means observing, understanding, and sometimes giving space, while staying grounded in your own life, goals, and confidence. Ultimately, if he truly loves you, his distance isn't the end of the story. It's a pause, a test of patience, and a reflection of the depth of his emotions. Love isn't always loud or immediate. Sometimes it manifests quietly, subtly, and even at a distance. What matters is recognizing that his absence doesn't equal absence of care. He may be staying away because he feels deeply, fears losing you, or struggles with the intensity of his own heart. So the next time he pulls back, don't assume rejection. Look deeper, stay strong, and understand this. His silence may be a sign of the love he feels, the respect he holds, and the internal battles he's still learning to face. True love often speaks in ways we don't immediately recognize, and sometimes stepping back is part of that language.